2022 Tissot UCI Track Nations Cup in Milton, Ontario, Canada. Meantime, we move on to the final in the women's Madison. And away we go. Part of the communication process. And that really is key to a strong team, being able to communicate. And now onto a sprint lap. Japan looking for their first points, trying to stay near the front. White jersey with a big red dot in the middle. But here comes Great Britain. White jerseys, white helmet. Italy in the all blue, then the Americans there. Blue jersey, white helmet. And it's going to be Italy once again, getting maximum points and up to 10 for the race. They're 2 for 2 with 100 laps left to go. Raced on the defunct 7-Eleven cycling team, as we've got a sprint coming up. And new teams trying to get in the mix. Here is Ireland, as well as Japan and Italy. The U.S. nowhere to be found for the first time. So the U.S., for the first time, is going to miss out on the points in a sprint. Now could have a break developing here. Italy trying to get away from the others. Now remember, if you lap the field, it's 20 points. So while we're talking about incremental points at the sprint sections, where it's 5, 3, 2, and 1 for the first 4, that's just chump change when compared to gaining a lap on the field. If you get 20 points, you could put yourself out of reach for a lot of the other teams in the race. But Italy looking to put this one to bed by lapping the field. Ireland has also lapped the field. So Ireland all of a sudden jumps up into second place, coming from really out of nowhere these last few laps. And Australia does indeed get a lap. The third team to do so, Alexandra Manley and Chloe Moran. And now here comes Switzerland in the red, followed by Italy in the blue towards the front. The Americans up there. Spain as well. Closing in on another sprint point. It is Switzerland, Italy. Top 2 spots here, and now Italy coming over the top around that final corner. And it's going to be Italy extending their lead at the top of the standings, getting a maximum points, all 5 in the sprint. And Italy pulling away. Now 51 points. Australia with 34. Ireland 29 in the first 3 spots. And the U.S. also moving to the front in the blue jerseys with the white helmets, with a sprint point on the way. Australia needs to make a move, but they just don't have much time, and you're not getting enough points here. Italy right on their wheel, not letting them get away. The U.S. in the mix for a sprint point as well. But the deficit's so wide for Australia behind Italy that with just 1 sprint point left to go at the finish of the race, it's pretty much out of reach. And there goes Germany, followed by Japan, and then it's Australia. Spain is up there into 4th. Italy fading back, but they know they've got the gold locked up. It doesn't matter. Italy will get the win in the women's Madison. Australia, the silver medal, and Ireland, the bronze. The women's keirin finals up next. First up, it'll be a race for places 7th through 12th. The motorbike accelerating through the first 3 laps while it's on the track before then pulling off. And there it goes. 3 laps down, 3 left to go, and the racing is on. It is the German at the front, Emma Heinze. And now 4 riders battling for that top spot, including the rider from Great Britain, Emma Funakana, the Aussie, Christina Clonan, who's in the white jersey with the green and yellow bands around her arm. And the final lap now. The German coming around the outside, Emma Heinze making a move. The Colombian on her wheel, Bayona Pineda, and it's going to be Heinze who gets the victory for 7th place. As we now get set for the medal race. Gold, silver, and bronze about to be decided between these 6 riders. And the motorbike will get them off the line. And now heads starting to swivel. Anybody want to make a move out of the pace line, take a chance, get a jump on the others? There goes the motorbike, 3 laps left to go. The Dutch rider Van der Peet lifts the pace. The Japanese rider follows. And here comes Friedrich, the world champion, moving around on the outside. Into the lead. Kelsey Mitchell coming up as well on the outside for Canada. Now into first place. Oh, there's a crash at the back. The Canadian going down. 1 lap left to go. The final lap in the women's keirin. Multiple riders hitting the deck here. And just these 3 left to go. Coming around the final corner. Here comes Friedrich, the world champion, on the outside. But it's going to be the Canadian who wins gold. Kelsey Mitchell ahead of Friedrich in 2nd and Sato 3rd. Mitchell gold, Friedrich silver, Sato bronze, with drama on the track and a crash taken out half the field here in the women's keirin. Wow. All right, it's now time for the men's sprint finals. First up, it'll be the first bronze medal head-to-head between Jack Carlin and Mateusz Rudek.
And this is the typical cat and mouse game.
And Rudek will lead out the first race, and Carlin will start from behind. Slow, casual pace off the start here. 3 laps total. Moving up to the top of the track, diving back down. Rudek keeping an eye, trying to close him out. Carlin now swings to the front. Final lap, and Rudek starts to dial up the pressure here, both getting up to full speed, and now here's Carlin deciding he needs to lead it out from the front, coming around the final corner, and Rudek is not going to be able to catch him. That's what happened to him in the decider back in the semifinals. Did not have the legs, and Carlin strikes first. The second race between these two, Rudek of Poland and Carlin of Great Britain, who won the opening sprint between these two. Will need the victory to push it to a 3rd and deciding race. When he was in this position in the semifinal round, he made a mistake. He looked the wrong way, allowing Matthew Richardson of Australia to dive down and beat him on the inside, and then beat him rather handily because of that. So Carlin got looking the wrong direction, won't want to make that mistake here. This is the very next race he is leading out since then. And now slips to the back. So all of a sudden it's Rudek who has to come from the front here, picking up the pace, and Carlin now on his wheel, sliding up the track. As they come around here, they'll get 1 lap left to go. Now Rudek committing pretty early here. Fully fully engaged in the sprint. Carlin right behind him, now coming up on the outside around this final corner. Here comes Carlin over the top, passing Rudak and winning the bronze medal. Sweeps him for the bottom step of the podium. Carlin wins 2 in a row, and it's Jack Carlin, the bronze medalist today in the men's sprint. And now, this is the first race in the battle for the gold. Matthew Richardson of Australia against Jeffrey Hoogland of the Netherlands. He's squeaking through the semis to get to the final and now trying to take advantage. But Richardson, the Australian, is the favorite here as they line things up in their first go-round, which Hoogland will lead out. Won one of his semifinal races by a very slim margin. Just barely did enough. Over the course of all of these sprints, Richardson has proven to be the fastest of the sprinters in the field. Has to be considered the favorite over Hoogland, who watches him carefully here. Richardson giving him some leash before he now starts to crank it up. Turns the screws and comes to the inside. Hoogland went up near the railing, and now the final lap. Richardson building up the speed. Hoogland losing contact with his rear wheel. Richardson curling around that final corner. Can Hoogland match that effort? No. He's going to lose by a couple of bike lengths. And Richardson takes the first race, and now just 3 laps away from a gold medal. And now it's on to the race for the gold. Matthew Richardson having already beaten Jeffrey Hoogland. Now remember, in the semis, Hoogland did lose his first race. Came back though and won the next 2 to advance here to this medal round. That's what he's going to have to do if he wants to win the gold. Needs to win this to force a third and deciding race. Otherwise, it's a silver medal for the Dutch rider. And the Aussies will get their 4th gold of these races here in Milton, which would match Italy for the most of any team. Richardson poised, confident. No one going to the top of the track as of yet, and now Hoogland slides up to the middle here. Richardson lifting the pace somewhat now. Going to force Hoogland to chase. Cranking away. Seeing if he's going to match it. Final lap. This is for the gold medal. Richardson pulling away. Hoogland losing contact here. Matthew Richardson on fire here. He is blowing his competition away, not even close. Matthew Richardson, as convincing a win as you'll ever see in a sprint final. The Aussie gets the gold today in Canada. And things begin with the scratch race for the men as we move through the Omnium. Now, the Omnium is an event that is comprised of 4 different events overall: a scratch race, a tempo race, an elimination race, and finally the points race. 15 laps left to go in the scratch race. The standings after this race will mirror those in the Omnium at large. Two riders now taking a flyer here. The Colombian in the blue, and now the Swiss rider in the red, as well as the German Gavin Huber responding for the U.S. and maybe sensing there's some danger here with 10 laps left to go, so the pace starting to pick up throughout the group. That's just what I was talking about in terms of staying at the front, how much energy you use, and then you also use energy clearly when others try and attack to get a gap on the field, trying to chase that down, which you have to do once you get down to this point. Inside of 10 laps left to go, you can't let big gaps grow because there's just not enough real estate left to bring them back. You have to keep them within arm's length here so that there's a chance to sprint for the top places when you come down to the final few laps. And now 4 riders here at the very front. You got the Colombian, the Swiss, Germany, among those nations there at the very front. And most of the riders now single file behind with the pace so high at this point. And now with everybody brought back, they start to look around with 5 laps left to go, wondering who might attack. But it's hard to get it right. It's imprecise. A delicate art, trying to get it just right when you're at speed in a big group. So much is happening so quickly. Sometimes you just have to deal with what happens in front of you and behind you and just act in real time. Now the Netherlands going out front. Two laps left to go. The world champion is up there. Gavin Hoover of the U.S. as well. The Aussies, the Germans, all of them gathered here. The Belgians making a play as well. On the final lap here, the scratch race to kick off the men's omnium. It's going to be the Netherlands as well as Germany, Belgium. Here comes Gavin Hoover in the blue jersey with a white helmet on the inside, but it looks like the world champion there, Ethan Hayter, the world champion in the rainbow jersey from Great Britain, gets the victory. Now, we move back to the men's omnium. It's the second of the 4 events in the omnium, the tempo race coming up next. The tempo race, 10K for the men. Add to your total, keep you in the hunt. And the Colombian quickly here going off the front. 40-lap event. And not wasting any time here. Straight from the jump. So we have the Colombian and then 3 chasers right now. Juan Esteban Arango Carvajal is the rider here. And the Colombian taking the first point available on the sprint lap. And look at this. He is about to get around and pick up 20 points. So Juan Arango of Colombia, there he is, top of the screen there in the blue, coming up on the back of the field. And he gets his 20 points per lap in the field, and all of a sudden, boom, 25 points here as he rides by. Teutenberg of Germany now with a pair of points. And remember, all of these points are added to what they had earlier from the scratch race. And through every event, all 4 here in the Omnium, the points are just added up, race by race. It's a cumulative total at the end of all 4, and that is the winner of the Omnium. The German showing some strength here and speed. He's up to 4 points by winning the most recent sprint. Vitsum of Switzerland has 2 points. Zhang of China has won 1 sprint. And now Arango paying for his efforts. You see his total. He's gone down a lap. He's been caught, gone down a lap. So he goes from 25 points down to 5 points. What a massive swing. There they are, each getting a lap and getting 20 points in the process. And the world champion finally gets on the board here in this race. Ethan Hayter of Great Britain winning his sprints. Gavin Hoover gets a lap. He's got 20 points, so he gets onto the back of that group. That's 20 points for the American from Southern California. Ethan Hayter also gets a lap. So Hayter, 25 points in this race. And that's bad news for the rest of the field because he came into this race leading in total points after winning the scratch race. So Hayter getting a lap is the last thing everybody else wanted to see. Jan Willem van Schip has 4 points now. The Dutch rider in the orange there, sitting at the front with the black helmet, sitting near the top of the standings as well. And another rider now, that's Van Schip, who gets a lap. Jan Willem van Schip all of a sudden jumps back up to where he was when we started this race, near the top of the standings. And now Ethan Hayter gets his second lap. So along with Teutenberg and Gavin Hoover, they've each gained 2 laps. So that's an additional 20 points. So you have Tim Thorn Teutenberg of Germany, Ethan Hayter of Great Britain, and Gavin Hoover of the U.S., each gaining 2 laps here in this race. Well, Hoover, the American from Southern California there in the white helmet. The world champion Ethan Hayter here in the rainbow jersey. And Tim Thorn Teutenberg of Germany, the big winners here. And that takes us to the men's Omnium elimination race. This is the third of the 4 events that make up the Omnium. So half the field has now been taken out of the race, and the other half now fighting to stay in. Switzerland, the U.S., the Netherlands among the nations at the front here. And it's New Zealand. And now Ethan Hayter, the world champion, at the very front. Gavin Hoover of the U.S. sitting right next to him. And it's Simon Vichum of Switzerland. He had been up near the front for a large portion of this race, but now finding himself at the back and out of the race. And now here is the Dutch rider launching a move off the front. Vincent Hoppezak. And it's Tim Thorn Teutenberg of Germany who exits. And now we're just down to 5 riders. Gavin Hoover of the U.S. out front. Here comes the world champion Ethan Hayter alongside of him, and let's see who goes out next. And it is Jan Willem van Schip of the Netherlands. So the rider in second place in the Omnium coming into this event now goes out, leaving 4 riders left to compete here. So we have just Jules Hesters of Belgium, Ethan Hayter of Great Britain, Daniel Staniszewski of Poland, and Gavin Hoover of the U.S. And looks like Hoover. No, actually Jules Hesters. So Jules Hesters, who has 1 gold medal for the week, he's gone. And Staniszewski of Poland now going off the front, followed by Hayter. Gavin Hoover is conceded. He's not going to catch up at this point. And it's down to Staniszewski and the world champion Ethan Hayter. Ethan Hayter, the world champion in the rainbow jersey from Great Britain, winning the scratch race to kick off the Omnium earlier. Trying to win for the second time here, and it looks like he's going to do it by taking the elimination race. The Polish rider can't keep the pace, and now he's won 2 of the first 3 events here in the Omnium, and the reigning world champion is now a race away from winning the Omnium here in Milton, Canada this weekend. And that will leave us with just 1 race left to go. The 4th race of the men's Omnium here today. And here are the standings coming in. Ethan Hayter, the reigning world champion, has the lead over Jan Willem van Schip of the Netherlands and Gavin Hoover of the U.S. Where it stands for this race in particular. So they take their point total from the first 3 races into this race. And it just adds from here. With all the sprints, all the points they continue to accumulate. And the one with the most points at the end of this race is the winner. And now the bell means we're on a sprint lap. First sprint of the race. 5, 3, 2, and 1 point for the first 4 across the finish line now. When they come back up to the finish line itself where the sprint is held, and it's going to be Hayter who gets through there first. Continuing his robust performance here today. And he'll take the maximum of 5 points there. And here comes Ethan Hayter now, the reigning world champion from Great Britain, making a move. He hasn't gotten any points since winning the opening sprint here, but now he's not messing around. He's on the attack. He wants a lap himself. Another sprint coming up with 60 laps left to go. So now the others getting onto the back of Hayter. Hayter and Van Schip as well as Hoover coming up there at that sprint. So the top names in this event going for the sprint there, really for the first time, mixing it up head to head. And there we go. Hayter in front, followed by Hoover of the U.S. Van Schip at the back of this group of 5 riders in the orange, with another sprint on the way. While our top 3 are not going to let key riders go and get a lap and the full 20 points that goes with it, if they're going to challenge their medal positions, they're going to keep an eye out and chase down the correct riders. Make sure they don't get away. You don't have to watch everybody, just the ones that can hurt you. And it's Hayter, Hoover, and I believe the Colombian that were the first 3 across. Let's see. Yep, that's the case with Teutenberg in 4th. So Hayter adds to his overall lead. Hoover gaining on Van Schip in the battle for the silver. When you do the math, he has moved up into 2nd place ahead of Van Schip of the Netherlands. This is quite an interesting battle for 2nd place and for 3rd. There's Hayter, the world champion and the leader. Has won 2 of the 3 events leading up to this points race as he kicked things off today by capturing the scratch race, won the elimination race. He's been adding points here in this points race as well. And here he goes again, launching this move on the sprint lap. Coming up on 20 laps to go, and Hayter continues to be so dominant. And now Van Schip of the Netherlands here in the orange jersey, trying to get to the front. He needs points desperately. And remember, double points at the finish from what we've had throughout. Instead of 5, 3, 2, and 1, double all of those for the first 4 who get to the finish line first. Van Schip just 3 points behind the American Hoover for the silver medal. 2 laps left to go. There's Hoover of the U.S. in the blue jersey with the white helmet. He's not going to get any points. He's out of the picture there. It's up to Van Schip to do it here. Can he make the move in the orange? He's getting past. He's running out of road. He's not going to get there. He's not going to get the points that he needs. And it's going to be the reigning world champion who wins this Track Nations Cup gold medal as well in Milton, Ontario. And so here are the final standings. Bob, Roy,